Good evening, everyone. Chris is already bebopping to the music.
It's a good song. I can't help it.
Yeah, I've somehow
Hello.
ended up with like three different little bits that have been are now associated with different things, but
It's a
I
good
just
tune.
I just use clips of them now as it seems appropriate. So um the the outro has changed to my regular like theme song. And people seem to enjoy that quite a lot because almost everyone hangs out for the entire like 90-second outro.
It's
to
a great
that.
outro.
All right. Good evening, everyone. We already have 12 people in the chat, so we are already hopping. Usually people are kind of floating in for the first 15 minutes or so. So I'm excited to see everyone here. We are going to be talking about solo gaming tonight with all of the jokes that come with that. And let's start with intros though and get to know our panelists a little bit. Will, we'll start with you.
All right. Hey, thanks for having me. I'm Will. I make games at Epticarus. I think probably the most recognizable thing that we've made is the Arium line of games, which is a world building RPG that was ENnie nominated in 2021. And then, because immediately what comes after world building is solo games, they started making solo games. So it's not to say that I only like solo games or anything like that. I love collaborative games. Arium is a very collaborative game, and so um, we we have more stuff coming that's collaborative. But yeah, it's been a good time.
Yeah. Well, as Chris was saying, the solo game really seems to kind of be at its peak right now. So it makes total sense that if you've got an idea, you should go for it.
Yeah.
How long has Adept Icterus been around?
That's a very good question. So we ran our first crowdfunding campaign in 2020. So that's kind of, I guess, the real time that anybody knew that we existed. I think before that, I had done writing for some varying projects and games around the internet, including the Zorro role playing game and some projects from Gallant Knight Games like Tiny Frontiers and some other things like that. But
Wait,
yeah,
there's a Zorro role playing game?
there is a Zorro role playing game. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I might need to Google that while Chris is talking. Eraser, are you here yet? Can you get on that for me? Okay. Chris, welcome back.
Hello.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
We are
Since my
delighted to
last
have you
solo
back.
game.
Well, and since season 1, you were like
And
one of the
since
last.
season 1. Yeah.
You were one of the final shows for season 1.
Yeah. And I'm glad you came back for season 2.
So, for those who did not meet you last time, tell us a little bit about Scrapyard Games.
So I'm Chris Hill, and I started making games under the name Scrapyard Games. I also have a game store up here in Maine, Crossroad Games. And yeah, I've been playing for a really long time and kind of got into the solo RPGs kind of really seriously a few years back, and then started trying my hand at making them. So this is my second one that's just come out, which was completely based on a dare that a friend of mine gave me at Christmas last year. Yeah, and it's I think a lot of fun.
So the closest thing I've ever gotten to solo role playing is I have a board game somewhere here that is a solo board game that I bought because I was told that you highly recommended it.
That I highly recommended.
And that was 2 years ago, and I've never touched it.
What's the game?
I honestly do not remember. It came in a black box. It's got silver lettering, and I suspect it. I kept it out for ages because I was like, as soon as I put this away, I'm just gonna forget I have it, and then any chance of my playing it will go away. And then I think I cleaned and put it away on the game board shelf, and it.
I'm curious. You'll have to look it up later and let me know because there's so many really good solo games right now that I'm like, what could I have possibly recommended?
Well, I was very fascinated by the idea of there being a solo board game. This was like before I even understood that role playing games were becoming a solo thing. And then to find out, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I would say I'm old, but I don't feel like in present company I can say that like I usually can. But to me, like solitaire and a deck of cards is the closest thing you get to,
It's
otherwise.
It's remarkable how many games right now, board games right now, are coming out that are like 1 to 4 players or 1 to 6 players. Almost all the board games right now that are coming out, we're seeing that are popular right now are having that, like, oh well, you can play this by yourself if you want to, which is really, I think, an interesting twist to the game design world right now.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I think it's kind of like a history of like board game development. When I was a kid, and I assume when you were a kid, board games were what you did with your family when the power was out.
Right. Yeah.
And so there's a very different structure because, if you got tossed out of the game, you just went to your room and read a book or something until the power came back on. Yeah. Whereas now you're getting together with friends, and if you get tossed out of the game in the first 5 minutes, well, that's no fun.
Right.
Hence cooperative games and, games where you can't really be tossed out until the very end.
Right.
And then, to then go from, social family, social friend to just kind of a thing you hang out and do by yourself is kind of an interesting development. And I think shows a lot about how society changed probably around COVID.
Well, let me see if I've got it here. No, I don't know where it's gone. There's a game that came out that was designed by the guy who did, I don't know if you remember his name, Will, it's Arkham Horror. The designer for that game, whose name is escaping me at the moment, did it's one of those games. It can be one player or it can be a bunch of players. But it came out of the pandemic where he's like, everything's closed and nobody's getting together. He made this game as sort of an exercise to keep his brain going, and made a couple extra copies to give to friends. The game is called Gentle Rain, and if you haven't played it, it's fantastic. It's a little compact game, $15, $20. I sat down to play it. I'm going to play one game, and that's it. And like 3 hours and 8 games later, I was like, this is just amazing. And it's this very like meditative, simple mechanic game. It's beautiful. And you can play it with more people, but it works great with one. And it came out of that kind of pandemic. Well, I can't do anything with anybody else, so let's come up with a game that I can play just here at my table.
I do notice a lot of solo games tend to be towards that kind of the cozy. Is that where the description that gets used for
a lot?
They tend to move towards cozy games, so it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I was interested in both of yours is that neither of them sounded cozy, and I don't really do cozy. So, though I have to say, this morning I ran across a game where you apparently play a dog alone in a space capsule that's like been shot out into space.
Oh yes, what's that one called? That's on my list of.
Is it?
Really
I gotta check this one out.
I was like, I don't know if that's cozy or terrifying.
That seems to be the general, like, they're either cozy or like
not
the dread of being at the bottom of the ocean in a leaky submarine, or
that's kind of like the first one that I think I really found was the Wretched by
Yeah.
Chris Bissett, which is you're alone in space. You've just everybody on your ship was killed by something, and you managed to kick it out of the airlock, but it's still on the outside of your ship.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was the one that kind of caught my attention, and I
Yeah.
was like, whoa, okay. Uh,
I mean,
but
not
yeah,
that I don't like
that's how it
people.
starts out.
Not that I don't like people, but the idea of being a dog alone on a space capsule and not understanding what's going on. Like people at least understand like what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right. So I want to greet the chat before it totally gets away from me because I'm several minutes behind at this point. So um one of our first, as always, is Legatus, who is one of the mods here, and absolutely fabulous. Legatus was, I think, horrified by my joking about tonight's show being about playing with yourself. And we have, I'm gonna mangle this. Blazes, you can tell me if I did a terrible job of that. Welcome. I don't think we have seen you in chat before, so I am always happy to see a new name. And more new names. And I'm going to mangle this one too. Martin Idle. I'm just going to call you Martin. Can I call you Martin? I think we're going to have to go with that because I'm not sure how you want that otherwise. And we have Savage Brewski. Welcome. Savage and I are kind of thinking about doing a collab later sometime in the next couple of months, so keep an eye out for that. And we have Mewtwo. We are talking about solo gaming. So I guess we aren't playing a game at all. And Hanayama-san announces his presence with all of the vigor that is Hanayama-san. I still cannot say your name slowly, just for the record. I have to just like spit it out and not think about it too hard because otherwise I will trip over it. We have our favorite hamster. I don't even remember what this was in reference to, but I have to bring it up anyway. We have Driving and Dragons. Welcome. Outside of mechanical stress tests, solo game is just playing with you. See, I told you they were going to be jokes.
I mean, you know what you like in a game, right? So why wouldn't you?
You buy
It
the
can
game.
be exactly what you want.
Well, like I said, sometimes you just don't feel like peopling.
That's true.
You buy the game so your family doesn't commit you for talking to the toaster about magical elves and the evil wizard in the next room. I also really want to know what the context was when that bit of chat came up. We have Eraserhead, who is our super mod here, and the master of the links. He's the one who will be throwing out. Yes, Legatus says, "Say your name and you appear, Eraserhead." And he has thrown out links for both of you. We have Matt Funcool. Matt, are you in fact fun and cool? I mean, I really can only do one at a time. I can be fun or I can be cool. I can't do both at the same time. However, I am doing great. Thank you for asking. Luckily, a lot of these seem to have been side chats between each other, so I'm not as far behind as I was afraid I might be. It's hard to think of a game like Dead Space or Subnautica translating to a tabletop setting and thinking those are cozy. Eclectic Goat behind on chat. What do you think this is? A Wednesday podcast? No, I will never be in the same category as the Wednesday chinwag because I mean, first of all, just having that many people would be totally overwhelming to me.
What day is this? Is this Tuesday?
This is Monday.
This is Monday. Okay. I don't
We
know.
used
The
to be.
holidays make time
Oh
wibbly
yeah,
wobbly.
absolutely. Yeah, between the holidays and the husband having an extra long weekend, and the fact that I no longer work in an office and have to date stuff every day. Yeah, time becomes time becomes relative. We have the Kermode bear. My one of my two favorite bears on the internet, and the only one that shows up these days in my chats. So rapidly becoming my favorite bear. Uh, Snortopoopus is also a bear, but we just call him Snorta, and he usually shows up in the morning for the morning streams. So, um, he's both fun and cool as he is an author creating books for people to read. I mean, I do love books. Books might be the one thing I love more than I love
And
games.
writing is hard.
And books are like the original solo game.
That's true.
Yeah.
Especially the choose your own adventures.
Yeah, that's right.
Ah, classics.
Well, I mean, you're not only a bear, but you're a bear with goats. Like, I mean, how could you not be? Yes, I was referencing Snorty Cuber. We did the meme a whole episode that was just intro saying hello, and then yeah, I'm so upset that I missed that episode. The Hump Day Chinwag did in fact take so long on their intros a couple of weeks ago that the entire 3-hour show was just introductions. They did intros, they said hello to the chat, they did a couple of memes, and then that was the 3-hour episode. I'm upset I missed it, and it's completely insane all at the same time. I am sure we are going to have more people wandering in as the stream goes on. I don't know. Last time I checked, Tomby was still doing a stream, so there's probably some overlap there. But I do want to make sure that we get started so everyone has lots of time to talk. So, Will, please tell us about your werewolf game.
Yeah. So it's Roof from Ruin. It's a werewolf game. You are a werewolf who has been made into a werewolf by someone that you probably once trusted, and they did this to you, and then they left. And so you've kind of become this worst case of werewolves where you were made a werewolf without anybody to teach you about being a werewolf. And so you kind of have to figure out all of that at the same time that you are trying to find this person because you're probably really mad at them. You have like a certain level of rage that's come with becoming a werewolf. And so part of what you're doing in the game is trying to figure out what's the right level of rage. You've got to have some rage, right? And figuring out why things always change with the way the moon, how full it is, and so yeah, it's very. I don't know. What do you want to hear about? Do you want to hear about why I made a werewolf game, or what? Where?
I want to hear about why you started a werewolf game. How did that happen?
Yeah. It was probably, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago, something like that. And I was writing fiction primarily, and I was writing a serial story about a werewolf. And I was really like, I feel very strongly that werewolves are underserved in the community. There need to be more stories about werewolves. And so I was writing a story about a werewolf, and it was very personal and very, rooted in sort of some struggles that I'd gone through in my life, and I couldn't really come up with an ending for it. I mean, I did. I wrote several endings for it ultimately, but I never liked any of them. And I think part of the problem was I never liked any of them because I sort of liked all of them. And then it was probably 2000. It would have been during the early COVID time, 2020. We were getting ready to launch the Arium crowdfunding, and I found the Wretched, and I kind of played around with it. I was like, this is really cool. I don't know if I ever want to make a solo game. I don't think I have anything that makes a good solo game in my head. All the ideas I come up with are group games. And it was about a year later when it clicked for me, and it just went on. It was like, wait, you already wrote a solo game. Well, sort of, right? That story, because you couldn't really come up with an ending that you loved, that is the solo game. And so, yeah, I went to the drawing board and kind of started coming up with some ideas for how we could make a really cool solo game. And obviously, I'm a much better games writer than I am a fiction writer, so it worked out pretty well, I think.
I think that actually is probably the problem a lot of people have with um like werewolf movies should be a pretty easy thing to write, but they're really hard to end. So I think that's one of the reasons there isn't more werewolf stuff out there. So,
Maybe so.
can you show us the game?
I can show you a copy that I have here, Andy. Yeah, this is Rue from Ruin right here. It's a hardcover game. It's got fun. I don't know if I want to read the back to you. I guess I'll read the back to you. It's the only silly part of the game. Most of it is very serious, but the back
Okay.
the back says, "This is game, is for being werewolf, is solo game. Write about being werewolf. Awoo." That's the back. So if that doesn't make you want to pick it up, then I'm sorry. That's all I got.
That's fantastic.
Did you write the blurb or did someone else?
My co-writer wrote the blurb, actually. Yeah, that's Katie Young, and she I'm like, we got to put something on the back. She's like, put this on the back, and we edited it just a tiny bit, but for real, like, I was like, you know what, it's perfect. Let's go. So that's what we did.
So is this a direct kind of rewrite of the story you had written, or did you
No.
modify it for game purposes? Or
Oh, it's definitely modified for game purposes. Yeah. The main conceit is the same. You're a newly turned werewolf who is hunting someone who you hold responsible for you being a werewolf and maybe some terrible things that might have happened after you were turned into a werewolf. And that core conceit is the same, but other than that, there's not a lot of fiction in the book that came from what I originally wrote or anything like that.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's more about player choice and what types of things might happen to you and sort of the mechanics that align really, I hope, really tightly with the theme of werewolf. So yeah.
So I literally I've never played a solo game. I've never read a solo game. So how does one go about playing, like, how does that work? How do you, like, figure out what the rules are and whether or not you win or lose?
I think it varies. Chris, I mean, Chris will tell you for sure that, like,
Yeah.
the way our two games work are very, very different. But there's sort of I think there are two main camps, and maybe there's more that I'm not aware of, but there's the more journaling focused camp, I would say. And then there's the more game mechanics, character sheet focused camp. Right. And
There's also the hex crawl camp.
There is the hex call. That's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true as well. Which is, often like there's a lot of games out there that are originally developed as like a multiplayer game, and they add something like that to add a solo element. Yeah.
So which camp does yours fall into?
It's very much here's a character sheet. You're going to make some rolls. Some of those rolls will be, on tables, and some of them will be based on stuff that your character has and that they can do. Yeah.
Question from the chat. Is it more introspective as a game since it's a wretched?
It isn't a wretched and alone game, actually, but there's some introspection, I would say, for sure. we do encourage journaling. It's not a journaling game where you have to journal, because that's sort of the, that's the line that we wanted to make it possible for people to play without journaling if they wanted to. But it has, let's see, I don't know how to. It has, so you're unlocking insights as you go through the game, and that's kind of our mechanic that we borrowed from another game that Adepticus Icarus published called Cyan Starlight, which is another solo game. And the insights are basically one-word sort of prompts that tell you something about the history of this werewolf and the person who turned them, and how that all came about. And so you can get a combination of 3 of them, and I think there are 6 options for each of the 3 different prompts that you can get, and how they combine together kind of tell a different type of story as you go.
I was going to ask if there was a specific person you're supposed to find, or if they're just kind of a metaphor throughout the game.
No, they have a spot on the character sheet, so you're gonna name them. Yeah.
Is it a set person anytime you play the game, or?
No, it's player driven. So there are some roles that you make to determine a little bit about the betrayer, that we call them the betrayer, and then you're going to give them a name and say how you know them. You're going to roll to find out what their specialty is. They've usually got some kind of a specialty, and then they have their own dice that you roll for them from time to time. That gets bigger as things kind of amp up. It's definitely I would say an increasing sense of urgency to the game as you continue to play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So some questions I get fairly frequently for different games. If you had a brand new role player who's never done like role playing at all, much less solo gaming, how easy would this be for them to get into?
That's a really good question. I think we do a little bit of explanation about what this is and where it comes from in the beginning of the book. And then one thing we really tried to do with this game, because I've played some different solo games, and I think the journaling ones are fairly easy to get into and understand. They're very accessible, I would say, to most folks. But the ones that are more, hey, here's rules and games, and you're going to have a character sheet with different bits and bobs on it and stuff, can be hard, I think, right? I would say they're like, if you're really into it, like you're really into it. People use tools like Mythic to run solo games of whatever RPG is already out there. It's just full of tables, and you just kind of make it up as you go. And the whole culture around that is really very self-driven, but it's not super accessible to somebody who doesn't know how to get going with any of that. And so we tried pretty hard to make this accessible. A few things that we did with that in mind is we actually diagrammed the core game loop in this game, so that you can kind of see exactly what, and it's in the back here. So just a diagram of like the choices that you make as you go through one moon cycle. So you're doing, hey, this is the waxing gibbous moon, and here are the steps you're going to go through during a waxing gibbous moon. And now it's a full moon. These are the steps you'll go through during a full moon, because it varies depending on how powerful the moon is, what's happening, and what the potential options are for your werewolf.
Okay.
Yeah.
Couple of questions. So Matt originally said, are there wars in this game? And I asked him to expand a little. And he said, are there factions for werewolves, vampires, demons, etc.?
That's a great question. It really isn't like that. I'd say that's a very White Wolf or World of Darkness type of view on werewolves and vampires and things. It doesn't mean that they don't exist, but they just don't come into focus really in this game. It is very personal game, I would say, where you are this werewolf and you haven't been connected to anyone, and so you don't know what's out there. So you might discover some things as you go, as you sort of find troubles and different people that you're going to interact with, allies and things like that. We actually have a zine that we're about to release for it that is it's a collection of like cool stretch goal stuff that we did as part of the crowdfunding campaign, and that has a little more of that kind of thing that you might see like in a later game after you've played for a while, but it certainly is more about you and your hunt for this betrayer.
I think I remember seeing in one of the descriptions on the website that most werewolves would be pack animals, but that you've been kind of
Yes.
abandoned and left alone.
Yeah, that's one of the themes that we really wanted to play with.
He also wants to know if this is a modern day setting or a fantasy setting.
It is a modern day setting, but modern day being the 1920s through the 1980s. That's surely a design choice for the most part. We just didn't really want there to be cell phones in the game. But other than that, we like the modern era.
That is still quite a stretch between the 20s and the 80s.
There is, yeah.
Is World War II going on or not?
Right.
Legata says, to increase difficulty, do you offer an expansion where you go from a D6 for outcomes to an expanded list with D8, D10? I assume Legatus must know more about the setup of your game than I do. Either that or that's an example. I'm not sure which.
Yeah, so the game, the attributes of a werewolf in the game actually use D6, D8, and D12, and so it just depends on, like, if you're very good at something, you'll have a D12, and you might maybe have some pluses to it as well. But if you're not very good at it, you'll have a D6, and so that's definitely true. Those impact how you do character creation actually, because you're going to assign your attributes before you do the rest of character creation. Then once you have them, then you're going to roll to see like what kind of item do you get, and that's tied to your means. How good is your means? If your means sucks, then there are less options for you to roll in character creation for your item. Your power, which is like some sort of werewolf adjacent power of some sort, or supernatural power, is tied to your touchstone. And so the better that's the betrayer. Dang it. I can't remember. It's one of the other attributes, but they're all tied to one of the attributes. And so you're going to start with one of them in a 12, and that one you'll have the access to like the full possible roll table of things that your werewolf can have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Matt says, can you imagine a werewolf in World War II? So as a huge fan of terrible, terrible horror movies, some of the greatest bad werewolf horror actually takes place in World War II.
There you go.
There are some wonderfully awful horror movies set in World War II that involve werewolves.
A werewolf rolling up on Hitler. I like it.
There's some that go in both directions. There are some that are, the Nazis attempt to like make werewolf super soldiers.
Of course.
That like, just turn on everyone and butcher them. And then there are some where, the Nazis and the Allies are fighting each other, but then there ends up being this third party of monsters that just kind of come out of nowhere. Because weird crap happens in Siberia.
Yeah.
Original Hamster says, Werewolf 2. Werewolf the Apocalypse had World War II werewolves, most specifically the Get of Fenris hunting down the Nazi Get. I don't remember that. I do remember Werewolf took place in kind of modern times, and then there was the Dark Ages one. But in the distance, Hellboy can be heard saying, "Nazi werewolves? Ah, crap." Uh, oh yeah. So Hamster is not only our favorite hamster, he is also the chat punster. So brings new meaning to Paw Patrol.
Ah, yes.
Do you level up in this game like an RPG? If so, is there a special ability that allows you to transform into a great wolf?
Interesting. Not traditional leveling, but there are the opportunity to gain more items, get better control over your powers, get new powers. Yes, all those things for sure. Gain new allies. Like there's a lot of that. That's a big part of some of the options that you can do during certain types of moon phases in the game. Mm-hmm.
How is the replayability of this?
It's a good question. I think it's pretty high, primarily because you're not going to get the same thing twice. Your character will be very different. You could play it in a different decade. The troubles that you encounter, there's a lot of them. I think, if I remember right, we've got over like 100 and I think 100 and some odd troubles. And they also progress. And so as you're going through the game, you're on this hunt for your betrayer, and that part of it is going to be, have some similarity from game session to game session. So you're trying to find them. As you get a little bit closer to them, you're going to unlock insights. The more insights you have unlocked, the more escalated the troubles that you will run into are. And so it's very possible that you might run into a trouble that you saw in a much simpler version in one game, in a much more difficult version in a later game. And so it's quite likely, I would say, that you'll get a very different story anytime you play.
And it's a lot more random than just to choose your own adventure. So
it is a lot more random than just to choose your own adventure. Yeah.
this is another reference I don't get, but does your game use an oracle function?
But we do have an oracle table. It's just a simple yes/no oracle. It's meant to help you in situations where we've created a spot where there might be uncertainty and you're not sure how to handle it. We just point you to the oracle and say, hey, you answer it. Like, decide how hard it is, the thing that you want to do, and then go use the oracle. Yeah.
So explain to me, what is the oracle function?
Yeah, it's basically a table where you can decide as a player who's playing this game. Like, here's a question you would maybe ask a GM if you were playing together with a group. Hey GM, can I X Y Z, right? Or how hard is it for me to do X Y Z? And the oracle table, you roll on it, and it will tell you the likelihood of the thing that you want to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's more interesting because I think I was thinking of this like you have limited, again, like a choose your own adventures. You've got limited options based on, you go to page 46 or page 197.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's a little more open ended than that based on.
Definitely. Yeah.
The oracle, So is this like the oracle says, well, there's a 97% chance you want to go to page 47, but you can still go to page 197 if you want.
We don't have any go to page this or that, I don't think, in the book, but let me just look at our oracle. The type of answers it gives, so you're going to roll a d12, and it's going to say, if you roll a 12, the answer is yes. If you roll a 1, the answer is no. And the ones in between are like, hey, there's a decent likelihood that the answer is yes.
It's a
Right.
Magic 8 Ball.
Yeah, basically.
I loved the Magic 8 Ball as a kid.
Yeah.
Chris, do you have any questions? You're much more familiar with solo games than I am.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, Oracle's come in a lot of different flavors. Tower Creative Dice makes these fantastic, I don't know if you can see that. It's an Oracle die. So basically it's
Yeah.
a giant D20.
Which is
You see
really
that?
I think you're actually
Focus.
too close.
Too close.
That's
And each side is like no and, or maybe, or no but. So when you're playing a solo RPG, sometimes you get to a situation where you're like, man, I really want there to be some sort of random element to help me tell this story in a more I want outside input into how the story's going to go. And so you have an oracle like a table or like this die where you roll it and it gives you that. All right, well now I have to come up with an answer that's no, but something maybe good is happening too. So that it I think there's, especially in the journaling games, it's a possibility to take it easy on yourself, right? So the story goes along and you have questions that are presented to you, and your inclination might be, oh, I can solve that easy. And then the game itself loses some of that tension. I think in role-playing games, one of the things we play for is that tension of, oh, it's not going like I thought it was going to go, or, oh, these obstacles keep coming, or the bad guy keeps showing up at the wrong time. So oracles are that element that lets you have that tension without forcing yourself to make the tension. Am I explaining that right, Will? Do you think? Like,
oh, totally. Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's right.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different ways to do oracles, and tables are great.
Yeah, we just did something fairly simple because the game does have a lot of there aren't a lot of rough edges where you might need an oracle necessarily. Right. There's a lot of direction. It's not turn to page X like a choose your own adventure, but as you're going through the game steps, like it basically lines out like this. Okay, it's a new moon phase, right? Whichever one that you're coming into. When you get into the new moon phase, let's check a few things, like, is your game over, right? Because we do have an actual way to end the game, right? So check if your game is over, and whatever other things you might need to check that are on your sheet that may have to happen at the beginning of a new moon phase. And then the betrayer gets their step. So they do whatever it is they're going to do for that moon phase. And then you do whatever you're going to do for that moon phase. And then finally you have sort of a conclusion step where you're going to go and do your journaling of the step if you want to, or you can do it along the way as you go. And then you're going to roll to see what the next moon phase you go to is. So you're kind of doing this zoom in on, hey, this is what's happening right now. And then you zoom out a little bit, and then the story will continue a little bit later as you go.
So, as far as you said, there is an end to the game. I assume finding the betrayer is one of them.
Certainly, yes.
Is there just like the beast overtakes you thing like there would be in White Wolf? Is that?
Yeah, there absolutely is. Yep. If your rage gets too high and stays too high, then you will certainly lose yourself to the beast. Yep.
And that's randomly chosen.
It's not randomly chosen. You have a rage stat, and it is partly under your control. There are things that can impact it that are outside of your control, but you also have some control over it as well.
Okay. You mentioned rolling a die, and I was like, so wait, could you just go through this whole thing and then roll the die badly at one point?
Ooh, yeah, that would be. There are some possibilities like that. You could run into a trouble that is really, really bad. Most of them are like our third tier sort of troubles, the worst ones. I think there's maybe one or two, maybe three different possible troubles that either will end the game immediately or end the game after a certain amount of additional moon phases. Yeah, I just had somebody on our Discord come and say, "Hey, I got this trouble, and I'm really close to finding the betrayer, and it said that my game's going to end in 5 moon phases, and I have 1 moon phase left, and I don't think I'm going to make it. Is that intentional?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's intentional," and and I'm like, "But also you're the player, and it's your game, and change it if you want to, right? Because that's one of the things about solo games I think is really cool, is you can kind of make the decision because you are, the GM to an extent of your own game, even though the game's telling you a certain way to do it. You
That
could
would be
make a
called
ruling.
cheating.
You could make a ruling and change it if you want to, though.
Still sounds like cheating.
I think if you go with the, I was so close and I've got just a little bit, but I've only got 1 phase left. I think that creates such a great story, though. Like, oh, I was almost there.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
and they decided to play it true as well, and they're going to play again and see what happens. So, yeah.
I was going to say
that's where the replayability comes in. Is right. I was so close and we just didn't make it. So you got to play it again.
I was going to say that seems like it would have far more impact and make it more replayable than like, I just jury rigged it a little bit and made it.
Right.
So now I don't need to play it again because I know what happened.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. But some people will make that choice, and that's an okay thing to do, I think.
It's the beauty of a game, right? You're playing to have fun, and if it's not fun,
yes,
you make it fun.
Right.
I'm a notoriously vicious GM, so.
You should try a solo RPG then, so that you can see if you would be vicious with your own, like if it's just you.
Yeah.
Like, how would that? Are you inclined to go for the throat of the character the story that you're telling?
I mean, I've granted, like I said, my only solo gaming is, choose your own adventures and solitaire. But I haven't cheated. I haven't cheated at either of those since I was like 6. So.
Yeah. So like, I think you'd really enjoy a solo RPG because it gives you more freedom. Like the choose your own adventures, which are great. Cave of Time, a classic. But it puts you on a set of rails. And so your story is either going to go this way or that way. And you have choice, but it isn't the open world choice that you come to expect in a role-playing game. So a lot of the solo RPGs give you that open world sandbox. Go out and play and find out discover what you find. And do you turn into the werewolf, or do you find the person who switched you into this werewolf body and exact your vengeance? It's and how do you do that? And how do you get there? And it's much more open than just all right, you can go to this page or this page. But what if you don't want to go to either of those pages? What if you want to do this other thing? And in a solo RPG, you can do that.
So Jack Tarlad has he calls it Read and Roll. It's basically a choose your own adventure, but with a GM and played online.
Yep. And
I always find it. I've been on it once, and I'm supposed to be on it again on, I think am I actually supposed to be on it this week? I think maybe I'm supposed to be on it this week. We've rescheduled this like 3 times now, so I am supposed to be on it this week. And I always find it really funny because the choices that they give you in the read and roll game are either A, completely ridiculous, or B, every single one of them is written to just teach you to never ever help anyone ever. Because every person that you try and assist will end up coming back to bite you somehow.
Right, but what if that's not the story that you? That's great if that's the story you want to tell, but if that's not the story you're after,
Oh no,
uh,
I was
yeah,
agreeing with you. I was saying I think
yeah,
it's funny that like because I've told him before, I was like these games are actually harder if you've been a role player because none of these are choices that any role player would like
right,
validly make.
right.
So, Matt says, "What sort of bosses are there to face?" I think I would add, "Are there even any bosses?"
Yeah, great question. So I would say the ultimate boss is kind of the betrayer themselves, right? And you will, if you're assuming that you get there and you don't, succumb to your rage, or actually maybe defeat your rage, or one of other several possible ways to end the game, do find them and confront them. That's certainly the main boss, and there's a variety of them. Um, I feel like I should be able to tell you what the variety of them is, and I'm struggling.
I think that's the curse of the game designer is
I know,
you
right?
spend so much time thinking about the game, and as soon as it's done, like all of that knowledge
You
dissipates out of your head.
you do, yeah. Some examples of betrayer types. Some of the like harder ones, I would say probably necromancer, cult leader, but they can be zoologist, biochemist. Usually they have some tie to something that would make you think they might be tied to werewolf somehow. So, yeah, maybe they were doing an experiment and created you that way. Who knows? Yeah.
I
I
mean,
really can't wait to pick this game up and play. This sounds like so much fun.
pretty much anything that involves the word necromancer gets my attention. Necromancers are one of those things I find in games are I either love them or I hate them, and it's totally dependent on how they're designed.
Yeah, they're fun.
A necromancer trying to raise the dead and creating a werewolf instead. That would be an interesting twist.
Yeah, there are a lot of troubles that you can run into. I wouldn't consider any of them really final bosses, but the way that they escalate, so that once you have two of your three insights, the third tier troubles can be pretty difficult. So I would say there's a lot of challenge there potentially.
So, how does I mean, I assume that as somehow I hadn't considered this, but I assume that means there must be actual combat in the game. Do you just roll dice against yourself?
No, there's not. I wouldn't consider it combat like you'd see in a standard role playing game.
Hmm.
It's very much, hey, here are the types of troubles. These are the things you can do to overcome this trouble. They each have like sort of a criteria of what needs to be done in order to overcome them. So that's part of the uniqueness of the different troubles, is how hard are they to overcome,
Hmm.
and what kind of negative effect do they have on you while you're being, you know, while they're in front of you or a part of you. The character sheet has space for like I think 8 or 10 different troubles, so you could have multiple that are active all at the same time.
Um, so a lot of this game seems to be kind of you against yourself more than um, you against external.
There's definitely a lot of external. So let me give you examples of the different trouble types. Some of them are physical troubles, which could have been something you brought on to yourself or something that someone else brought on to you. And an example of one is unconscious. A hit to the head or a tranquilizer takes you down. So there's a possibility that you get to decide as the player, like, how did that happen and why, right?
Hmm.
There are mental troubles. Those are probably more personal. Relationship troubles, supernatural troubles. Here we go. So zombies. You don't know what a zombie werewolf looks like, and you aren't about to find out. That's yeah. Sirens. some different
Ooh,
types of
sirens
devils.
and werewolves. That's a great combination.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Matt says or dog treats.
Dog treats.
The only thing I can think of is eating tranquilized dog treats.
Mm. That could totally fit in the
The
unconscious
ball of
category,
cheese with the pill in the middle.
right? And then your dog still spits out the medicine that was in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have many animals that take many medications on a daily basis. So actually, I take that back. I've only got one at the moment. But yeah, there was one point in time where I had like 5 different animals on 5 different medications. So the idea of trying to feed I don't know, part of me says that trying to feed a werewolf a pill really doesn't seem nearly as complicated as an angry goat.
Siren werewolves.
So I was just going to say siren werewolves.
Yeah, I was just replying to that because that was great.
All
The
right.
howling at the moon thing, it has a whole other take when it's also a siren.
Right.
Do we have any other chat questions from the chat, or Chris, do you have any others?
There was a question about what other mythic creatures are in the world,
Oh, I
which is a
totally
good
missed that.
question, and I kind of want to
Yes.
know the same thing. That's a good one.
Apologies, I missed that one completely.
Yeah. So I mentioned some of them. I think there are whatever mythic creatures you want there to be in the world is the sort of cop out answer. But we have some that are specifically included, which was I think we said zombies, ghosts, um, hunters of supernatural things, sirens, and then the cultists, and whatever the cultists might be trying to bring about, I suppose. And then in the zine that I mentioned earlier on, if you missed it, we have a whole bunch of sort of escalated nastier troubles. Some of them are science fiction centered, some of them are classic horror centered, and some of them are more like urban legends and creepypasta. So yeah, we have quite a few different types. But they're all a little more, I don't know. They're most of them are like the third tier troubles. And only the third tier troubles, and we don't recommend running into a lot of them.
Honey Amazon says, Necromancer werewolf, does he only summon dogs? Does he feed them shadowy dog treats? Can you have undead werewolves? You're getting all sorts of expansion ideas if,
I don't
if
know.
the mood should ever take you.
Can you? Yeah. Oh, devils are definitely a thing in that expansion. Yeah. Somebody is asking about gnomes, leprechauns, fairies, Bigfoot, angels, and demons. There are devils for sure. Yeah. They're going to try and make a deal with you.
Now that's cool.
Mm-hmm. That's a very Faustian type of devil.
But no angels.
No, nothing explicit.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Eraser, can we throw the link up one more time? Honey Amazon says, Devil werewolf it is then. Yes, hello to Tabletop Junkie Games. I can talk, honestly, I can. We're getting like lists now. Gremlins, imps.
Gremlins. Mm-hmm.
All right, so Eraser will hopefully get that link popped up here pretty quick. We will throw that up again. And I want to move on to Chris so we can make sure she's got plenty of time, and then we will make sure that you've got wrap-up time for anything else you'd like to plug. Chris, tell us
Yes.
about your
So
Cthulhu-esque.
yeah. Last Call on Arkham started as a very good friend of mine last year for Christmas, because Brendan and I did not coordinate. He got 4 decks of playing cards because he made a comment that he had all these games but no playing card decks. So Brendan and I jumped to work and got him decks of playing cards, but with like a Cthulhu theme. So now he's got lots of decks of cards, and I had just finished the Sylvan, which is a game that came out last year, and he had said he was very excited about it and challenged me to come up with a game. But then he gave parameters for things it had to contain. So it had to use a deck of cards, and it had to be themed in Arkham. It needed to have a guidebook feel to it. And then it kind of evolved into it has to be a pub crawl. And then somehow the more you drink, the less the horrors affect you came into them. It was a mechanic that had to be put into it. And finally, the option for cocktails. So the book had to have cocktails with Cthulian names. So
Wait, are there recipes in this?
Oh, there are recipes. There are both
All
cocktails
right, now we're talking.
and mocktails in this book. So I went home and then wrote all these things down and proceeded to try and figure out how to turn that mush of stuff into a game. And this is what I settled on. It's there we go. Last Call on Arkham. Arkham 1935. The theater kids staged The King in Yellow, and now reality's cracking. But hey, there's an after party. So this is a journaling light solo RPG. Journaling light, horror light. The premise it is built on was fairly campy, so that's kind of what I leaned into. If you can read this with Katharine Hepburn's voice in your head, I think you get the right aesthetic for this game. You are
okay. I have to stop you to make a joke.
okay.
Eraser. Are you old enough to know what Katharine Hepburn sounds like? Sorry,
If not, you have homework.
I have to say that we tease Eraser about his age, but his old movie knowledge is probably greater than mine, actually.
Then I mean, she's an icon, so okay, perfect.
He does want to know if drinking Kraken straight counts.
I feel that you should be able to drink the beverage that works best for you.
Kraken would be kind of entertaining, though.
I do enjoy a good Kraken periodically, but usually with some ginger ale or Coke. I'm not a huge drinker myself, so there are each of the neighborhoods has so what you're doing is you're on a bar crawl basically. But because the theater department put on this production of The King in Yellow, now all of these minions of Hastur have descended upon the town. So while you're just trying to go from bar to bar and have a good night, you keep running into potentially monsters that you have to deal with. So each neighborhood, there's a little map. I can do this.
It's so cool.
Of Arkham.
I love this map so much.
And what you're doing is you need a deck of cards and you're drawing cards. And the cards tell you what neighborhood you find yourself in. And in each neighborhood, there are 4 different types of locations you can end up in. One of them is, of course, the bar. And so each neighborhood has its own, I'll go this way, has its own both cocktails and mocktails. Because I'm not a huge drinker, but I do love me a good mocktail. So, you can mix your own for whatever whichever neighborhood you find yourself in. And then you have a choice is of the neighborhood of the places you're going to go. But in each neighborhood, you can only visit a location once. So you have to be strategic about where you're going to go. And each location gives you a different thing. So if you end up in a bar, you have your running tab sheet is sort of your character sheet for the game. And your unraveling index is how drunk you are versus how much existential dread has taken over your mind. So stopping at places like a bar, you can buy yourself some drinks, you can get yourself toward I'm not so worried about the horrible things that are running around in the streets of Arkham. But the more you have indulged in beverages, the less damage you actually can do. Conversely, if you have faced these horrors and the reality of this situation kind of is sinking in, the adrenaline causes you to do more damage. So it's this fine balance of you don't want to know too much because you'll get lost in Carcosa, but you don't want to drink too much because then you'll end up drunk in a ditch surrounded by Bayeki or whatever happens to find you. So it's this sort of lighthearted, journaling light trip through Arkham, where you have the option to buy equipment and stop in for drinks. There are in each of the locations, there's a little journaling prompt that goes along with it. So if you're in the mood to do some journaling, you can do that. For example, if you stop at the Rusty Anchor along the Miskatonic River, the question becomes, as your drink is served, you catch a glimpse of something odd in the hazy mirror. What is it? So you can write, little notes about, hey, we stopped into the Rusty Anchor. I saw the shadow of my deceased grandmother trying to mouth something to me, but that could have just been the drink. Or and you can kind of tell your story, and you can see if you survive to the end. The way the game is set up, you have one Joker. That Joker represents the King in Yellow himself. He is shuffled into the last 6 cards of the deck, and so you know kind of where he is in the deck, but you don't know exactly when he's going to come up. And so it's your goal to, the more monsters you can defeat throughout the game, the more you weaken his power. And so at the end of the game, hopefully you've got some magic, hopefully you've got some sanity, and you can defeat him and save Arkham, or you perhaps become the next starring role in the next production of The King in Yellow. It's got the horror elements of Lovecraft, but sort of a tongue-in-cheek noir kind of vibe.
That's a lot of genres combined. Well, I love horror and I love noir, so
I think you'll like this one. So Will, I think it's great that you've got the flow chart. I've got a flow chart for this. It's not in the book because these are all the printed copies are all done very zine style. So they're done here, printed out on my printer, assembled, cut by hand. I have a giant paper cutter named Jeremy that makes it all trimmed up real nice. And
I really have been considering getting a giant paper cutter named Jeremy.
I love my paper cutter. I will give you the make and model of this one. It's fantastic. It'll cut 450 sheets.
Oh, please send me
It's
that. That'd be great.
fantastic. You just it's I could lose a finger to it at some point. I don't know. But so far I have all my digits. So
That's good.
yeah.
So the day I found out that you had come out with this, the final copy of this, Twitter began an entire debate on what is an indie game, and somebody attempted to define an indie game as someone who uses a third-party printer. And I said, well, why would you include that in your definition? And they were like, well, because no one who publishes their own game is ever going to like print it out themselves. And I'm like, allow me to introduce you to this video that just dropped this morning.
Hello. I am that indie publisher. Yes. So when I published the Sylvan, it was my full intention to just have it be a digital game. And then I wanted to give it to my friends for Christmas because I thought it was really, really good. And I was very, very proud of the work I did on that one. So I thought, well, I'll print it out, which meant I had to buy a printer. And then realized I gave myself tendonitis, actually, because the copies of the Sylvan I cut by hand with a ruler and an X-Acto knife. And then ended up in physical therapy for 6 weeks because I kind of mangled a ligament doing that. I don't recommend it. I bought Jeremy. Jeremy is wonderful. Jeremy saves me from carpal tunnel and all other bad things that nobody wants.
Physical therapist.
Physical, yeah. Yeah, but I think you can really do some kind of cool things with, just a printer and a really long stapler, a very long neck stapler, and some good paper and a paper cutter.
Yeah, I mean, I think zines are kind of the ultimate indie game, and Troll Lore Games is starting to print their own stuff because they got tired of, losing stuff on boats when they tried to send it to China for
Well, I mean,
printing.
that is a thing too. Is if you're having something printed overseas, you're kind of at the whim of whatever the market is doing today, and
Right.
and that's tricky. But there are limitations to this too. Like this is there's like 11 sheets of paper here, and that is about the limit, I think, of what is realistic for, at least for this kind of like the standard staples that you get. I'm sure they must make longer staples, but 44 pages is kind of, anything more, I think I would need to actually go to a local printer and figure out that math,
Yeah.
which I haven't done yet. But
Well, their response was just to say, yeah, we're not doing this anymore, and just go out and buy a professional print shop.
yeah,
But most of us can't do that. So
yeah.
um,
When this sells, 2 million copies, then I can think about getting a
well,
print.
I think their plan is that for people who are quite small but don't want to go overseas, their plan is actually to like rent it out. Like they'll do printing for people when they're not printing their own books.
It's really exciting as somebody who really loved the zine culture back in the early 90s, dating myself terribly, but I loved all of those art zines and the
Oh yeah,
poetry zines, and it was very much an unfiltered look at art and culture and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that coming around more with people doing, grabbing a printer and a stapler and making their own thing and not having to worry about can I find a publisher to publish this? And are they going to let me publish what I want, or are there going to be rules and restrictions? And are they going to change my idea to fit what they're trying to sell?
Yeah. That's the whole impetus behind sort of the Zine Month, Zine Quest thing that goes on in February, TTRPGs. And I think a lot of the people who create those, like they're going on crowdfunding and they're getting, like 50, 100 backers, something like that. And they don't all want physical copies, but those of them that do, they're printing their own, because usually you have to print a fairly significant number to make it worthwhile to print, with a bigger printer. And so, but if you have to do 25 or 50 copies, then, maybe print them yourself. Could be really cool.
Yep.
We did postcards from your Betrayer as a stretch goal for Roof from Ruin, and I came about this close to buying a Jeremy so that we could just make them ourselves. It would have been more cost effective to do that, and I wish I had gotten around and been able to do it. But the ability to just like make postcards or bookmarks or little things like that you can have that add something to your game, I think is really cool.
There was over on Itch last month. Oh my goodness, time. They did a bookmark jam. So yeah, printed it out on the printer.
Yep.
The what are they called? The Epson. It's an Epson 2800, so it's got like little wells of ink. They're fantastic printers.
They're fantastic printers right up until the point where you stop printing for a long period of time, and then the ink all dries up, and now they don't work.
I have not reached that problem. I print a lot of stuff.
I reached that problem because it kept registering I had a paper jam, and I couldn't find the paper jam.
Oh.
And I never had time to like really tear the whole thing apart and look. And so for like 2 months, it just kind of sat around, and I used my husband's printer instead. Yep. And then I found the jam quite by accident. And it appears the cat had managed to like wedge a piece of paper in.
It's always one of your animals. They're out to get you.
I mean, I think cats are fascinated by printers in general. But yeah, she'd managed to somehow wedge a piece of paper in places that paper shouldn't actually go, which is why I couldn't find it. But at that point, all of the ink had like dried up and solidified. So now I have to pull the whole thing apart, clean all the print wells, the ink wells out, and restock it. So,
but if your cats aren't trying to sabotage you, they are great printers, and then you can print.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it right up until that point.
Print and cut your own things, and yeah.
Savage Brewski has a question. How much or little do the named characters and deities from the Cthulhu mythos make showings?
So this one is specifically about the King in Yellow, for a few reasons. One, it is the friend who challenged me to this. It's his favorite of all of his favorite stories involve Hastur, King in Yellow. And two, while a lot of the Cthulhu stuff is public domain now because Lovecraft died in the 30s or early 40s, so most of his stories are available. But August Derleth's stories, C. Clark Howell's stories, those are not yet in public domain. So when you're doing stuff with Cthulhu mythos in particular, you just need to be careful of that. I don't want to tread on anybody's toes. I don't want to,
And I understand that the official Lovecraft Society is quite litigious.
They could be. I'm not certain. Actually, Hastur is and King in Yellow is actually even older than Lovecraft. It's Howard Chambers.
Chambers, yeah.
Yeah, Chambers. and he was writing in the late 1800s. So that's kind of why I stick to the older guys, and I stick to just what Chambers and Lovecraft have written, because it's much easier kind of to use those without treading into zones that you don't want to tread into.
Yeah. Public domain's a weird space, because as soon as somebody makes a new thing based off of it, all the things that they added are in copyright.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
So, like on my map here, there are things on here that are straight out of Lovecraft stories. But then there's a whole bunch of stuff that I added this is now, and that's kind of one of my things that I've always loved about stories about Arkham, is that each author spins it their own way and adds their own flavor. And Chaosium has done a fantastic job with all of their, I love a good Cthulhu source book. But, they have a very definite flavor that they've added to that world. So I wanted to create kind of a fresh from scratch. These are all things that are either out of my head or were stuff that he wrote about directly. So I hope, while there's only the King in Yellow that's involved in this, and there are like some of the monsters you'll run into are monsters that Lovecraft wrote about.
I saw a couple. Yeah.
Yeah. So, or inspired by there are ghouls and there are occultists and, all of the pallid watchmen that's out there. So, there are some things they're geared toward King in Yellow, and I didn't really get further outside of the. Oh.
Legatus would like to know if you're going to make more.
Well, I won't say no. I do love me some good eldritch horror.
If Legatus gives you a dare to make one,
Legatus, you just got to give me a dare, and I'll have to see what I can come up with.
That's all it takes.
We're simple creatures, game designers.
It has to involve fishmen and
and Dagon. We could do that. That could be interesting. This was almost a hex crawl. So in my early notes for this, I'm trying to mulling over, well, what is this game? What is this combination of, how do I get all of this into a thing? And very early ideas involved being a hex crawl. So maybe I'll do another one and use some of those ideas that didn't fall into this one and put them into that one.
There you go, Legatus. Inspiring creativity.
Give me a list. What do you want to see? We'll make it happen.
That's dangerous. You could end up with a chat compilation dare going here.
Honestly, I really kind of love the challenges of things, because if you have endless choices, I have decision paralysis, and then I don't know what's it going to be. And then when you get okay, it's got to do this, and it has to do this, and it has to do this, and oh, by the way, put in cocktails. Then it's all right, well, here's some guardrails. How do I make this fun?
I do love the fact that it has recipes.
Yeah.
I love the fact that it has recipes.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite, I think, is so there is a mechanic in the game, because it is card based, so there's some randomness that's involved. You could end up starting the game poorly by drawing a whole bunch of monsters all at once. If that is your game, there's an option in here for ordering from the secret menu. So you can make yourself a corpse reviver, which is a classic and yet period cocktail from this time period, or you can make yourself a Wake the Dead, which is the non-alcoholic version that I came up with to kind of go with it. And I really like that one a lot. I've made that a few times now. It's it's refreshing and zesty. So yeah, the cocktails were a lot of fun to come up with for this.
I have to know, did shrubs make it in there?
There is a shrub actually. Yes,
I
yes.
am I am a huge fan of the shrub.
I did grab a shrub, and I think the sourtail. The sourtail is the shrub that's in what neighborhood is that in? It's in the north side. Is a shrub inspired beverage. Yep, love a good shrub.
Fiore's, the olive oil company in
Mhm.
Rockland, they make vinegars that are flavored with fruit juice. So vinegar and fruit juice are two of the ingredients. So literally, I just have to like pull out my salad dressing and like add it ice and seltzer water.
Yep.
Boom, some drink.
Yeah. LaRue Kitchen in Portland does that too. They've got the
Do
flavor.
they?
Yeah.
Huh. I'll have to take a look. I'm a little tempted now. We got 13 people in chat. Just have 13 rattled off what they want included. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
14. We just got another one.
All right.
All right, chat. Cthulhu themed game. One thing that you would want put in a Cthulhu themed game. There are 14 of you there. I expect to see 14 answers.
Oh my goodness.
You can't write the whole
What have we
game
done?
for her though. You can't write the whole game for her though. You have to just have one tiny detail.
Yeah, this game actually, I had another game that I was working on at the time, and this one fell into my brain, and then I had to finish this first, and so I do have another game that's on the table for next year, for this year. This year is now next year. So don't derail me too much. Create it with my own imagination. Okay. Done.
No AI allowed.
No AI.
Infected with the eggs of madness from Hamayana-san.
And have to outlive them. Oh, okay.
No cultists.
No cultists. Interesting.
Matt says it's okay to use AI a little. I can see Chris making a drinks of the Necronomicon due to health regulations. Some concoctions not included. Yeah, this stops being a game and just like becomes a cookbook that happens to have.
I mean, maybe I did include because it's you've got to be like there is a QR code here for if you've got people for whom alcohol is an issue. I wanted to include that stuff too because while it's a game but you don't want to make light of serious issues too. So
right.
Yeah, I don't think it's too hard to include. I mean, I drink a lot of, cranberry juice and seltzer water, so. Yeah. Abe's gonna get you just says awesome. Welcome, Abe. We're looking for Cthulhu-esque game ideas. Things for her to include in her next game. Can you show me the cover again?
Yes.
I kind of saw it when I was looking at the...
So...
It's really fascinating.
I did do all the art for this. So...
It's so good. It's so good. Like, I was looking through it, and all of the art is fantastic.
So, Harry Craddock is a guy that wrote the Soy Cocktail book, which is if you're into cocktails at all, is like a must-have on your shelf. And the guy who illustrated that book, Gilbert Rumbold, did these wonderful, very kind of cartoony, but with a art deco kind of vibe to them. And so I used that as inspiration to come up with this guy is. I love. So
you did the writing and the drawing?
I did. Yeah. This
I love that one.
This is a great one. So if you look at the Savoy Cocktail book, it is online, and there's a link in the back of the book that talks about all of the various cocktail books from the period that I used to get the recipes for this, for the alcoholic versions of these. And so you can go online and look at the Savoy cocktail book, and you'll see his art. It's just this great fun, just crazy. Like, I don't even know why that's there, but here it is in this cocktail book. And he did a picture of Harry Craddock, of Harry Craddock, that does look a lot, like this, but I kind of went with the fish vibe. So
I love
you
that.
get the Cthulhu things up.
2-color sort of style. It's
yeah,
so cool. Yeah,
yeah. That was all very. That's it's a very cheap way to print, right? Especially back in the day. So
yeah,
I'm like, I'm gonna embrace that vibe, and we'll keep going that way. So that was a lot of fun.
Matt Funcool has stabilized on wanting something about the King in Yellow's siblings.
Actually, the whole siblings concept is August Derleth. So that's an area where I don't want to start poking around, because he's the one that kind of developed the whole, there are elder things and elder gods and outer beings and how they're related, and and that's all kind of still in copyright. So I don't want to mess with that too much. I guess I could do my own take on it, but that could still kind of venture into that territory a bit. And
no gray zones.
Yeah. I'm very, very small.
So I recently had somebody send me a whole pile of D30s.
Ooh,
really?
So, and I only have one game that uses them. So my challenge is going to be to include a D30.
It needs a D30. Okay.
Doesn't have to be hugely used, but just give me an
excuse
to use.
D30 infected with the eggs of madness. There is a 40-word game RPG challenge right now. I wonder if we could. I'll have to think on that.
Oh, I bet you could. I mean, I don't know. Those short challenges are hard, but it could be really fun.
Yeah. I've been toying with it, like, geez, I don't know what I would come up with, but maybe this is the thing. Like,
yeah.
All right, chat. What else have we got for ideas to throw in the mix here? We must have more Cthulhu lovers in the mix. And welcome to another J. I have definitely seen your name. I'm trying to remember if I have seen you in this chat. I think people are mulling. And there is much debate over whether or not I do, in fact, have a show on Thursday, because apparently the person that runs it has gone missing.
Ooh.
Long holiday.
Yeah, the holidays, I discovered with this game that having a deadline for the holiday season is not a great idea. There's too many other things happening, so easily have Nyarlathotep make a cameo in an unseen form stirring the pot. Ooh. I could.
Is this one of the gray area?
No. Nyarlathotep is definitely Lovecraft. And he's shows up in a bunch of different forms, so there's there's some interesting stuff that could happen there. All right. Okay. Maybe there's an Egyptian theme happening.
Since 33 and a third degree is such a big thing, using a D30 plus a D4 minus 1 would make that work. Oh, and Savage says, but if you do that, don't name him.
Because he is him whom should not be named, yes. So. Good point. Good point. Now my brain is buzzing on.
I was gonna say I should do a stream like this where like literally the whole stream is just like the chat like throwing out ideas for a game.
And then I'm sure Will does the same thing. Like you have these mechanics that you see places. So like I'm like, oh, that's great, and I'll write it down, and then it bubbles up later as like, how do you? Oh, I remember that. I know how I can use that mechanic now.
I had this stream on whether or not game masters and players prefer prep or no prep, and I always thought of myself as kind of a no prep person. And then as we get talking, I realized that in fact I am constantly stirring around like game ideas in the back of my head 24/7.
Yeah.
So probably my subconscious is prepping whether or not I mean to or not.
Yeah. There was a meme I saw recently. It's that meme of like a cartoon guy sees a butterfly, and the meme was like, game designers, that's the guy, and then the butterfly is literally anything, and then the final line was, is this a resolution mechanic? So the meme is basically just anything could be a resolution mechanic.
It's true.
Yeah.
Mr. Hunter says, Augie was the problematic one when it came to copyright. I think the biggest reason Lovecraft achieved the stature he has today, despite his other flaws, was that his literary hand was open.
I would agree with that. I think that, Lovecraft I could go on a whole like thing about him. Definitely had some problematic attitudes. That I don't think were uncommon.
No.
And I think, all right, I won't get onto that. That's a whole rant. But yes, I agree with that. And I think that he invited people to come play in his world. And he loved when somebody would include a little in-joke with his characters here. So he would include a little in-joke over here with, in that story. And yeah, I don't think the copyright and the development of properties, like ideological properties, had kind of coalesced really at that point. And I think it came later as people realized, oh, I can make money by licensing, here's my thing and I own this. And if anybody else wants to play in this, then you're going to have to pay me money, which we all got to pay the bills and get our lights on and put food on the table so that we can come up with more stories. So while I understand that, I do appreciate that Lovecraft was kind of a, like, hey, come play in this world.
Legatus apparently wants dance moves involved.
D30s that determine dance moves. What are you guys doing? Oh my goodness.
Well, yeah, instead of having you did cocktails last time, now you're gonna do dance moves.
Dance moves. I'm gonna have to do a deep dive on TikTok, I guess. And
it's like Guardians of the Galaxy, get to the dance off.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's dance moves. How do you make that work?
I mean, he's just here to confuse you. It's your job to figure it out.
I feel like at this point it could be, instead of a solo game, it might be a 2-player game.
Ooh,
right?
I'm kind of obsessed with 2-player games right now.
2-player games are pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Badger and Coyote is one that I really want to. Have you seen that one? It's kind of an asymmetrical. One of you's playing a badger and the other one's playing a coyote, and you're on an adventure. And
I love that.
Yeah, that's. I think I have that one here. My giant shelf behind me of all of badger and coyote. This one. An asymmetrical GM-less duet game where each player takes a turn describing a scene and a complication that happens.
Oh, nice. I have a few. I don't know if I have very many, but yeah. I do.
Yep. You keep your games like all right at hand, right?
Yeah, they're pretty close.
Yeah.
Honey Amazon says dance moves are due to having the
This
eggs of
one I've
madness
had
mess
for
you
a
up.
long time. A single moment, which is your
Oh.
two dueling samurai, basically.
Ooh,
Ooh,
interesting.
wait, bring it back. Bring it back.
Yeah, bring that one back. A single moment.
Yeah.
Who's that by?
Toby Abad. Yeah, it's really cool. It's basically just a duel between two samurai.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And I've got a few, but this one I picked up at. This one's a little wild. I picked this up at PAX Unplugged recently. It's called "Let Me Be Your Thrall."
Oh,
It's a
yeah, I've seen
dual
that one.
TTRPG about finding over a lesbian vampire.
Yep.
Anyway, it's yeah. Yep. Duo games are a thing.
I think I'm going to try and make it to PAX Unplugged next year because it sounds like that's a great place to find all the. That's where all the cool solo RPGers are hanging out.
I will be there. I'll see you there if you come.
Excellent. Then I will make sure I come find you.
I didn't even manage to make it to Page this year, so I'll be lucky if I make the entire weekend for PortCon.
We'll be at PortCon. We'll also be at SnowCon, which is coming up. It's in Bangor in January.
Yeah.
Middle of this month.
Somebody said they didn't get back to me about running games until like super late. And now it sounds like they're basically like out of spaces for people to play games. So
it's a very, very small con. It's very cozy, but not very big. So I'm not surprised they ran out of space.
Yeah. And yeah, as far as PortCon goes, it's a shorter drive for you than it is for me.
Much shorter.
Yeah. So the theoretic, like last year I managed 2 days because I have relatives down there and I slept on the couch, but I don't think I could manage that for 4 days.
This year they're having it at the Holiday Inn, so it's a much bigger venue.
Yes, with much worse parking. And
there's a parking garage right next door,
which doesn't work well for farm trucks.
Oh,
because my truck is
a low ceiling.
And my truck is about half again as long as most vehicles, which means it's going to end up sticking out into the. Yeah, not looking forward to it. I mean, I'm looking forward to the convention. I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, someday maybe our secondary, real vehicle will get fixed, but it's been 8 months now. It hasn't been fixed. So, I just found this amusing. 3 eggs of madness, 1 cup of Cthulhu milk, and a fresh cube of butter.
An easy maddening omelet.
All right. It is 1:15. I want to start wrapping up so everybody has time to plug their stuff. Will, where are you going to be? What you got coming up? Where can people find you?
Yeah. I'm around, we have a Discord. I'm on my Discord pretty frequently. You can find a link to it from adepticarus.com, just the main website, not the store or anything. And that has links to all the socials and things like that too, if you want to go there. I'm semi-active on socials. I'm definitely around on our Discord more than I think I am on socials. But I do interact if people interact with me on socials for sure. And then I will be, where am I going to be? I'm not going anywhere in January, but in February I will be at Life, the Universe, and Everything, which is a writers convention in Provo, Utah. And we're going to have like a whole room, and we're going to build a world together with the whole room of people using Arium. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We did that once 2 years ago, and it was so cool. I'm really excited to do it again.
You're right. You're not doing Page?
I don't know Page.
I mean, I feel like I'm the only person not going, so I'm kind of glad somebody else has missed it.
Where is Page? Tell me about it.
It's the Philadelphia area gaming expo.
Gotcha. Okay.
I was supposed to go. They even sent me like guest
Hmm.
passes and stuff. And then I discovered that apparently the airport and the train station are both like 2 hours from the actual expo. And since it was going to be a 10-hour drive, it was, yeah, there was no like rational way for me to get there without it
Oh yeah.
taking like an entire week for me to get there and back again. So,
On the East
um,
Coast, I'll be at MegaCon in Orlando in March and MomoCon in Atlanta in May. So
nice.
that's the plan so far this year.
Very nice. Any other shows, interviews, anything else coming up on YouTube?
Nothing scheduled. But if
All right.
people are interested in me being on shows, if I didn't bore you to death, then I'm happy to go on shows. I enjoy it. I have a lot of fun.
Excellent. Chris.
So I will be at SnowCon up in Bangor, Maine. I think it's the 18th and 18th, 19th, 20th.
So if you're from Canada, it's easier for you to get to than
If you're in Canada, I got you. I won't be at TotalCon, but Brendan, my husband, will be, and he'll have copies of it at TotalCon. I will be at PortCon.
Are you autographing them ahead of time?
Okay, so Will, do you autograph your copies?
Only if
It's
people
weird,
ask.
right?
Only if people ask.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
I will do it, but when people ask, yeah.
It's
Otherwise,
a very
no.
strange thing to autograph. Like,
Yeah.
what? Really?
What I have done with some games is because sticky notes is a big thing in Arium, and so I for people who I knew, I would just write a little message on a sticky note and put my, my mark on it or whatever. Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can, but it's still a little weird. So if it's,
that's
if you
just
ask,
that's just your imposter syndrome kicking in.
Maybe.
My favorite game books are the ones that people have sent me autographed. So.
All right. Well, I will definitely autograph one for you then. I'll put it to the Sylvan so that you can, because I don't think you picked your copy up. Did you pick up your copy of the Sylvan that I left? I left one for you at the shop.
I've been down there like 3 times. Nobody's told me I had a copy down there.
Yeah, I left one behind the counter. So I don't have them in stores, but I do have, except for my own store. So they're available there physically, and if you want a physical copy, which I don't blame you because I kind of like holding them in my hands. And
hashtag buy physical media.
It just feels nice.
It does.
Yeah, so if you want a physical copy, you can get them either at Crossroad Games, any of the conventions that we are at, or so this year will be SnowCon, TotalCon, and PortCon, or you can get them on my website, scrapyarngames.com, and you can order them there. And I will print one out fresh for you, and send it in the mail to you.
And when you order it, make sure you put in a little note that says you want it autographed.
You want it and if you say that you want it autographed, I will autograph it for you. It might be in some sort of strange eldritch script.
That's even better. Even better. All right. I am the Eclectic Goat. I am here, Discord, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the places, all the times. I am supposed to be on Jack Tarlad's Read and Roll on the 8th, though that appears to now be slightly in question. Every Wednesday this month, I will have a Goat's Notes coming out, editing tips for people who are interested in doing their own creation. I am always looking for new ideas about what people would like me to include in the Goat's Notes, so please make sure to make comments if there's things that you think I should cover that I haven't. I only have so many ideas in my head, and I could use others. Next Monday on Slice and Dice, we will be doing the weekly Kickstarter. I call it the weekly wish list. All the things I wish I could afford that I can't. After this month, I think we may be taking a break from the weekly wish list. It doesn't seem to be quite as engaging as some. And I think we're kind of at that time of year where people are not doing as many anyway because everybody's broke after Christmas. Welcome to the Beast.
You knew it was going to happen at some point.
I knew it was going to happen at some point. So yeah, I'm thinking about doing some other topic panels and some collabs with other people. We've been talking about bringing the what is an indie game discussion off Twitter and onto YouTube and getting some live discussion going about it for anyone who wants to participate. Yes, Hamster says wallets are on cooldown. Again, there'll probably be a few months where we're trying some new things. So if there are things that you would like to see, please drop me a note. Again, I only have so many ideas, and I'd like to hear yours. So by the end of the month, I expect to finally have my Watership Down hashtag the book is better done. Now that, I actually have a functioning computer and functioning headphones that the rabbit has not eaten.
Hooray!
Got a new computer, was like, yes, now I can get my video done. And like a week later, the rabbit ate my headphones. And it's impossible to edit without decent headphones. So then it took another week for the headphones to get ordered in because it was Christmas and everybody was sold out. And then I got the flu. So the universe apparently the universe incarnate is also terrified by the Watership Down movie.
It is horrifying.
To me, it's like a cliff note of the books. It's like an exact replica of the books, but only like one paragraph at a time, and then it skips like 6 pages.
It's still pretty scarring as a small child thinking you were watching a cute little animated thing about bunnies. It's not a cute little animated thing about bunnies.
Watership Down is a book in general, if you think you're just reading a cute little book about bunnies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually one of the other conversations I've been thinking about doing as a topics is if you look at like what was considered PG in the 1980s and the 1990s versus what's considered PG nowadays. I went and looked up movies. Ghostbusters was considered PG. Who Framed Roger Rabbit was considered PG. Today it's like Zootopia 2 is considered PG-13 or PG.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, the difference, like how did this happen? And then why are the same people that let it happen complaining about how soft kids are these days? So we may be having a topic discussion on that as well. So yeah, a lot of it's why PG-13 was made. Yes, exactly. And the end of this month, the Mr. Hill will be joining us for a topics panel on running your own friendly local gaming store.
Ooh.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, we've been doing it for almost 30 years now, so
it's going to be a great contrast because you guys have done it for almost 30 years. We have somebody from, I think, the Midwest who's done it for like just a few years. And then somebody from California who literally just opened it like a month ago.
Yeah.
So I tried to get as much diversity as I probably could. I really wanted someone from the UK, but no one in the UK was willing to stay up until midnight to be on that panel.
Stupid time zones.
I know, right? I mean, getting someone from California is sometimes harder than getting somebody from the UK for a lot of things. So.
Sure.
I know I'm not gonna like make my fortune that way or anything, but I just would really love to have a game store someday. So you're gonna have to make sure I know when that session is. I gotta be there.
That is the 26th.
Okay.
And on the 19th, I will be doing a game review for Night and Avalon RPG.
Ooh, yeah.
I just
Love
ran
me
it.
some Arthurian.
I just ran it this weekend for the first time. I think it has shot up into my top 5. So,
I think I backed that.
uh,
Feels like I did.
if you did, I'm really impressed because I think it's the only way to get a physical copy in America. And I would maim someone lightly to be able to get my hands on physical copies of those books. But
Games that were kickstarted that are coming from overseas have had a bit of a
well,
difficulty.
Night is interesting because Night has been in France for years, and is apparently one of their most popular games. Like apparently, like right on the heels of like D&D. Um, and then they decided that they were going to do an English translation, and the translator came on the show in season 1.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
and which is how I got introduced to it and kind of fascinated by it. But they kind of got it into England some, but it's so hard to try and with time zones and everything else because France is 6 hours ahead. It just became so difficult to try and market to the United States that they decided they were just going to kind of focus on Europe for now.
Yeah.
And they do PDF sales, and they did a sale, like a pay what you want sale a while ago for a couple of the first books. And they're quite reasonably priced as PDFs, but again, I really love physical. I want them in my hands. But yeah, somebody pointed out Willy Wonka was a wild show, and we let children watch that. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
That is true.
Um,
Poltergeist, man, that gave me nightmares.
Yep. Lots of PG stuff that came out when we were kids that would never ever be PG now. And yet now you can drop F-bombs if you're PG-13. But anyway, yeah, so I recently ran Night for the first time in order to be able to do a good review of it, and had a really good time. It's got some rough spots, but I think they might be translation issues. It's hard to say, and we were kind of able to muddle through. And even the people who were originally quite doubtful about the game really ended up having a good time, and now they're trying to figure out how we can cram in another monthly game, despite the fact that none of us have any time. So, but
to be a kid in the 80s again when you had time to game all weekend long.
Well, the issue is that we did the test run with a friend who came home from the Midwest. So the issue is not just we need to find time. It's he's not exactly going to take a, half a day's flight back here so that we can play once a month. Plus he's like going to law school, so he doesn't have time anyway. But anyway, I want to thank you very much for coming. And I want to thank the chat for being here and being so active. You guys have been wonderful. I think Chris can now pull her hair out completely, trying to figure out how to actually put that game together.
I'll see what I can do.
Maybe you need a couple of cocktails.
I have just the book.
Everyone, please, if you are into solo gaming at all, take a peek at both Scrapyard Games and Adept Icarus, and give them a look-see. I think that is it. I feel like there was something else I was going to say, and I forgot what it was, so it obviously was not very important. Oh, I know what it was. Tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I will possibly, fingers crossed, be finally finishing off the first Diablo game. I've only got like 2 levels left, so either I'll finish it off or I will die a lot, and you can all come laugh at me. So, Yes, that was so a lot of people pitched in and helped buy the new computer, and one of the agreements was that I had to start with Diablo 1 and go all the way up through the whole series.
Oh wow!
Really?
You're in for
So
a ride.
Yeah, you are.
so Diablo 1 was the first game I ever actually finished. Diablo 2 I finished in college. 3 I play a ridiculous amount of, but I've never actually finished the game. Because I bore easily and I keep going back and just starting new characters.
I think I finished it on normal. Yeah.
But yeah, now I keep going back and like I'm like, oh, this character's getting kind of boring. I'll go back and see what this character does. And so I play them until like level 50 or something, and then I'm like, oh, this is getting boring. I'll go back and see what this character does. Yes, I have heard I should not bother with Diablo 4. So yeah, so we'll be doing 1 through 3. I've got Original Sins 1 and 2 to go through. On the days I'm feeling really slow, I'll probably do like the Mist series for some more retroing.
Yeah,
and then for
those are good.
and then for special occasions, I am developing quite the collection of 90s advert games. So when I hit 750 subs, which I think is like 20 subs from now, I will be playing Chex Quest, which was all of the old maps for Diablo. Not Diablo, for Doom. The old Doom maps from like the 90s. Except you play like Chex Mix characters.
What?
It is utterly ridiculous. It's free on Steam. You should take a look.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So, on that note, everyone have a wonderful night. It was wonderful to see everyone, and happy headbutting.
It's a fucking good.
Eclectic Goat's got videos of indie authors and cinema love. A passion for the weird and the strange. She's snappily dressed and only slightly deranged. Come and meet the Eclectic Goat, lover of classics and whiskey notes, disciple of horror and the written word. Happy headbutting, come join the herd. Shows might be a little improper. We've got real zombie, fake whizzes the otter, pizza in one hoof, glass in the other, deciding which role-playing games we will cover. Come and meet the Eclectic Goat, lover of classics and whiskey notes, disciple of horror and the written word. Happy headbutting, come join the herd. Got a thing for black and white screens, crappy horror with low budget scenes. Choose on the history, spits out the law. Time for another whiskey pour. Come and meet the Eclectic Goat, lover of classics and whiskey notes, disciple of horror and the written word. Happy headbutting, come join the herd.